People are doing extraordinary things all the time. And there's no reason you can't be one of them. But never forget that, doing, is only half the battle. The person you become is where true success lies. In the end, we all want to believe that who we are matters. We are made to search for meaning, to find self-worth, self-fulfillment. Like footprints through the timeline of destiny, we like to look back and feel assured that our being here has made the world a better place. We desperately want to know that we made a difference. See, you can only do so much. But you can be a difference 100 times today. And just think about what could happen if you choose to be that difference 100 times every day for the next year. You would have hundreds of thousands of small opportunities to make an impact. Now imagine if you did that for the next 30 years. You could change over 1 million outcomes for the better. Now that would be truly extraordinary. Choose to be edgy. Choose to be extraordinary. Be edgy. Choose to be extraordinary. 1. Open the door for a stranger. 2. Say, thank you. 3. Learn from your mistakes. 4. Stop whining. 5. Fear less. 6. Be kind. 7. Let yourself be inspired. 8. Lead someone. 9. Pay off debt. 10. Choose a side. 11. Pay more for quality. 12. Lend a hand. 13. Let past mistakes go. 14. Be invincible. 15. Be more efficient with your time. 16. Stop playing politics. 17. Plan to be successful. 18. Be an expert. 19. Stop defending yourself. 20. Decide to take action today. 21. Fight mediocrity. 22. Laugh at life. 23. Go to bed tired. 24. Ask what you can do better. 25. Give a stranger flowers. 26. Hold the elevator door. 27. Compliment a great idea. 28. Work on being patient. 29. Create what's missing. 30. Stay in mental shape. Fight until the end. At what point does your dream become delusion? Who decides when genius is just plain insanity? The world doesn't get to tell you when to stop fighting for your dream. Friends and family will shake their heads and wonder why you're trying so hard. They will ask you to stop. They will tell you that you're throwing your life away. They will tell you that you're wrong. They will tell you that even if you get what you want, it won't be worth the cost. Small visions and petty mindsets don't help your mission or further your cause. They just hold you back and make you doubt your purpose and passion. You might be called crazy or fanatical or obsessive. But so were a lot of other amazing people throughout history. If you let the opinions of others dictate what you do and how you feel about your life, you are destined to be miserable no matter how much you accomplish. Success is what you decide it is, not what other people tell you it should be. Don't let other people's opinions define you. Their opinions don't matter, not one little bit. They don't get to decide. You do. You decide what is right for you and what is wrong. You decide how important your goals and dreams are to you. You decide how long to keep trying. There will be times when the world seems to fall apart around you. There will be times when the world seems to fall apart around you. When everything you try seems to fail. When your dreams are in tatters, and what you want seems so distant and unreachable that it might as well be a fairy tale. There will be quiet moments in between the gasps of a silent sob when you question if you can go on. When no one believes in you. Not even you. In those dark moments, it's only natural that you would think about giving up. You start quitting on the inside. That's where quitting starts. In your head. In your heart. Think about it. When was the last time you publicly threw in the towel? Probably only once or twice ever. We've been taught that quitting is for losers, that's successful. People don't give up. And since we all want to look like winners, we work hard at making sure we don't ever appear to give up. But giving up isn't about what you do when everyone is watching you. It's about the attitude you have, the things you say to yourself, when you're faced with overwhelming obstacles. You give up because you don't believe in you enough. Because when no one else believes in you, you suspect they're right. When others doubt you, you doubt yourself, too. When others are skeptical of your dreams, you become skeptical of your dreams, too. You fail only if you quit. You will succeed if you just won't quit. Success looks a lot like failure up until the moment you break through the finish line. You can give up or keep shuffling toward your goal one step at a time. You can make excuses for your own inadequacies, or you can take responsibility for achieving greatness. Today could be the day you start winning. Just because things didn't go your way the first time, or any time so far, doesn't mean that they won't go your way the next time. The next time, the odds could change. The next time could be the time when the human spirit rises above the beliefs of frail minds to deliver results that could never have been imagined. But only if you believe. Only if you believe in you. No one else can believe for you or with you or instead of you. It has to be you. You need undying devotion to making your dreams reality. You need purpose. You need conviction. In the summer of 480 BC, Xerxes and his Persian army descended on the plains of Greece with a force that shook the world. Their goal? To invade and enslave Greece. Ancient sources claim the Persian army numbered in the millions. And their ferocity was indisputable. They would not be denied. And yet a single man dared question that greatness. As Greece and its allies struggled to assemble several thousand men to mount a defense, Leonidas I, king of Sparta, gathered a small group of men in the hopes of delaying the Persian army long enough to give Greece a chance. Leonidas and his men made their way through the night to a pass in the mountains called Thermopylae, through which the Persians had to pass to reach the Greek towns. The following morning, as hundreds of thousands of Persians charged their position, the Spartans stood their ground, unmoved, unshaken. They stood with purpose, shoulder to shoulder, brother with brother. Willing to die for their country. Fighting to live. Leonidas leading. According to an account by Herodotus, Leonidas required them to stand firm, to conquer or die. And their fury drove back the Persians. That day and the next and then again for 5 more days. 7 days into the battle, a Greek trader named Ephialtes informed the Persians about a little-known path through the mountains, a way around the pass that Leonidas held with his men. Hearing this, Xerxes ordered Hydarnes and 10,000 elite soldiers called the Immortals to ascend the mountain at night and outflank the Spartans. When dawn came and the Greek scouts spotted the Immortals, they reported the treachery to Leonidas. Knowing that death was likely, he gathered his small army and announced that anyone who wished to leave was permitted to go with honor. Those who remained would fight the Persians to the death. As daylight broke across the top of the hills, the small army of only 300 Spartans formed a circle and waited for the enemy. As the Persians surrounded them, the Spartans fought so fiercely that their opponents fell in heaps. The Persian commanders were forced to use whips to drive their soldiers at the Spartans, who fought with violent desperation, their swords breaking against the heavy shields of the Immortals. And yet they fought on. As wave after endless wave of Persians descended upon the valiant troop, Leonidas was separated from his men and killed, his hand still grasping the sword his lifeless body could no longer command. His troops, so moved by his passing, were enraged and fought the Persians back up the hill to surround their fallen king's body. They stood in a circle, facing outward, fighting to the last with their swords. And when their swords broke, so Herodotus tells us, they fought with their hands and teeth. Nothing left but sheer will and a determination to stand. Nothing left but conviction. Ultimately, it took the arrows of thousands of Persian archers raining down on the Spartans to crush them. None were left standing. Their bodies lay fallen around Leonidas, a man who stood up to the mighty Xerxes. A man against millions. A man who believed in his cause. A man who pushed aside comfort, fear and a kingdom to pursue his destiny. So inspired were the Greeks by the courage and conviction of Leonidas and his 300 Spartans that they rose up as a nation. They fought to be free men and, against staggering odds, defeated the Persians. And in so doing, they ensured the birth of Western democracy and freedom. One man literally and truly changed the course of history. To this day, there is a memorial to Leonidas and his men at Thermopylae. Engraved upon a stone is Leonidas' response to Xerxes' demand that the Spartans lay down their arms, Molin Labe. Come and take them. Thousands of years ago, in a battle between primal warriors, to lose meant death. The choice was brutally clear. And so, no matter how badly you were injured, you fought on. You grabbed your weapon and with every ounce of strength you could muster, you waged war with the enemy. Chances are that fighting for your dream is a lot easier than raising a sword and fighting hand to hand to the death. But fighting to achieve your goals is a raw and gritty sport. It can leave you bloodied, hurt and wondering why you ever attempted such grand ambitions in the first place. Giving up on your dream is likely not a life and death situation. At least not a physical one. But the moment you stop fighting for it, you start dying inside. When you give up, you die an emotional death. Do you have the guts and the stamina and the conviction to keep fighting for your dream? Your dream. Because if you aren't fighting, you just aren't getting any closer to success. You aren't. So grab your sword and start swinging. When you are grimacing through the pain and fatigue of fighting for what you hold most dear, remember the Spartan inside you. Meet the challenge with the noble nod of a warrior. The steady look of an unconquerable champion. And when fear and doubt surround you, fight. Fight furiously. Fight for the dignity of a destiny that you choose. And if you should fall, rise. Dust off the wounds of failure and loss. And try again. And then try again and again and again. Don't throw up your hands, hang your head and admit defeat. Refuse to lose quietly. Because your dream is worth fighting for. You have a choice. A choice to give up or to fight on. This moment is pivotal. This moment defines the rest of your life. This moment is your opportunity to believe in yourself. One person is enough to change history. That person might be you. Will you stand and fight? Epilogue. The rest of the story. Do you remember George? George was the young American soldier caught in World War II who pulled himself, broken and bleeding, in excruciating pain and at the brink of death, across a battlefield to find help. Then he overcame his fears and swam through a pitch-black ocean in the dark of night in hopes of finding a boat where doctors and nurses could begin to make him whole. It was extreme. It was improbable. But George survived. And I'm glad he did. Because George was George Waldschmidt, my grandfather. But George didn't just survive. He became successful. In a big way. In an edgy kind of way. After the war, he moved to Kansas, started a family and drove a train as an engineer. Nothing glamorous. Nothing especially heroic. In fact, if the story stopped there, you might suspect that George was just an average blue-collar worker for the rest of his life. But the same drive that enabled George to pull himself back from the edge of death enabled him to become a millionaire. A millionaire train engineer. You see, at the end of each year, Western Pacific employees were given the option of receiving a cash bonus or a stock certificate. In those days, a stock certificate was just a piece of paper that let you know you might have some money in something called the stock market in New York City. Although most of his fellow engineers took the cash, George took the stock. Instead of giving in to immediate gratification, he demonstrated a savvy discipline that seemed extreme to those he drank beer with. So while others were paying for another round at the bar or buying a new house, George kept collecting pieces of paper. And over the course of many years, those little pieces of paper made George a millionaire several times over. During the 20 years that I knew my grandfather, I was always inspired by his story. It would pop back into the forefront of my mind whenever I was facing challenges. How could I not put in the effort or be disciplined knowing what my grandfather had done? Now, to be fair, George's journey wasn't all inspiring. He had his demons. Like many of his generation who fought battles on faraway continents, he used alcohol as an escape from the horrors he had witnessed and the tragedy he had experienced. He was abusive at times. Angry. Out of control. But my grandmother loved him in spite of it. Her commitment to him was a testament to the power of love. Because when it's all said and done, it is the love and the relationships in our lives that mean so much more than any other kind of success. I learned that lesson in the most painful of ways. And that's where we were at the beginning of this book. With me, sitting on the back steps of my garage with a gun in my mouth, having discovered in no uncertain terms that I'd been wrong. That achieving outrageous, extraordinary success in life wasn't about how many deals I closed, how much money I made or who knew my name. It was about something much deeper than that. There are few words to accurately describe the emotional torment of my failed marriage. I was distraught at a deeply personal level. Hurt. Confused. Incredibly sad. There were few days that I didn't think about committing suicide. But once I put the gun down that night, I was never again really serious about hurting myself. But the thought would still go through my mind, wouldn't it just be easier to end it all than to try to put the pieces back together? Perhaps it would have been. But that's not how we Waldschmidts do things. Just as my grandfather crawled off the battlefield an inch at a time, my wife and I learned how to stop hurting each other, bit by bit. We learned that we both just wanted to be loved. To be listened to know that we mattered. Like George, we found help. We found each other. And like George, we survived. Sarah and I are still together today. This year we will have been married for 10 years. And we have 3 amazing children. Don't expect any advice from me on how to keep a marriage together. We just took it day by day. And the days turned into weeks. The weeks turned into months. The months turned into years. And now, we love each other more than ever. Perhaps truly for the first time. I don't know what the future holds for us, but I'm excited to find out. And I'm grateful for a grandfather who inspired me to find the courage to conquer my demons and do the impossible. My hope for you is that you will find the courage to conquer your own demons, whatever they may be. To push the limits of what is safe and acceptable. To keep fighting long after it makes sense to stop. To give to others more than feels necessary. To understand the frailty of others. And to love them in spite of it. To understand the frailty of others. And to love them in spite of it. Go be awesome. Go be edgy. You guys are epic. Thank you for listening.